The London streets buzzed with the cacophony of honking vehicles, chattering pedestrians, and the distant murmur of street performers. I adjusted my meticulously tailored suit, the fabric whispering against my skin, and glanced at my wristwatch. Time, like a runaway train, was slipping through my fingers, and with it, my patience. A crucial meeting loomed less than 30 minutes away, and each wasted second felt like a hammer blow to my burgeoning business. "Excuse me, sir," a voice chirped from beside me. I turned, prepared to dismiss another street vendor or mendicant, but stopped dead in my tracks. A small, scrappy girl, no older than 8 or 9, sat on the pavement. Her clothes were ragged, her unkempt hair framing a face etched with the hardships of life. But it were her eyes, intense and piercing, that captivated me, that held me rooted to the spot. "Move aside, will you?" I muttered, irritation rising in my throat. I was accustomed to people yielding to my path, not obstructing it. I took a step forward, but she remained unyielding. Instead, she gazed up at me, her small hands trembling slightly. "Please, sir, you shouldn't go that way." My eyebrow shot up in surprise. "And why not?" I countered, half suspecting another ruse for a handout. The throng of people around us surged, indifferent to our brief standoff. "There's a man following you," she said, her voice steady yet urgent. "He's not good. You need to listen to me." I scoffed, ready to brush her off. "I haven't time for this nonsense. I have a meeting to attend." But something in her expression, the gravity in her eyes, held me back. She wasn't begging, she was warning. What could a child like her know about danger? I glanced over my shoulder, expecting only the usual urban hustle. But there, just beyond the crowd's edge, a figure lurked. Cloaked in darkness, he seemed to vanish into the shadows, his gaze fixed on me with an unsettling intensity. A cold sweat beaded on my brow. Perhaps this girl was telling the truth. "Why should I trust you?" I asked, my voice softer now, a flicker of doubt entering my mind. I checked my watch, anxiety receding. Time was still pressing, but the weight of the meeting seemed lighter, replaced by a newfound sense of purpose, and a deeper understanding of life's unexpected turns. My daily routine involved numbers, yet I'd never considered them objects of affection. Lily's eyes, alight with enthusiasm, painted a different picture. It was like a complex puzzle, she declared. Success hinged on solving it. And I craved that victory. Just then, my phone vibrated, pulling me back to the mundane. I retrieved it, and my assistant's name flashed across the screen, Edward. "Edward, where are you? You need to hurry. The meeting's about to commence." A wave of anxiety washed over me. My partners would be expecting me, and I'd already caused a delay. "I know, Anna, but..." "But what?" Her voice, laced with impatience, cut through my hesitation. "You can't afford to be late. This is critical." I sighed, my gaze drifting to Lily, whose expression blended concern and curiosity. I couldn't simply abandon her, not after the efforts she'd made. "I'll be there in a moment," I replied, ending the call. "I'm sorry, Lily, but I really must go." "Are you leaving me?" she inquired, her voice barely audible. "No, no," I hastened to assure her. The idea of forsaking her felt wrong. "I'll take you with me." "Really?" Her eyes widened, disbelief painting her face. "But you're going to a formal meeting, right? I don't belong there." I shook my head, a newfound determination blossoming within me. "You might be surprised. You belong wherever you choose to be." We resumed our walk, sensing the shadowy figure still lingering behind us. My heart pounded, driven not just by the urgency of the meeting, but by the peculiar connection forming between us. I glanced back, but the figure had vanished into the crowd. "Do you think that man will follow us?" Lily asked, her voice trembling slightly. "I don't know," I admitted, "but we'll be all right." Just stay close to me. As we approached the imposing building, a mix of anxiety and a strange Edward, he roared, his voice filled with venom. You think you can replace me and carry on with your little empire? I'll show you what happens when you betray your own. A young woman, her large brown eyes radiating an intense focus, sat on the pavement. Her gaze, arresting in its intensity, held me captive. I was poised to ignore another entreaty for spare coin, but something about her piercing stare compelled me to halt. Please, sir, she implored, her voice surprisingly steady despite the tremor in her hands, you must listen to me. A flicker of annoyance stirred within me. I'm sorry, but I haven't the time for this, I replied, attempting to sidestep her. But she deftly blocked my path, her eyes narrowing, her small features etched with unwavering determination. No, you don't understand. There's a man pursuing you. He's dangerous, she insisted, her voice escalating in urgency. A shiver coursed down my spine. What do you mean? I inquired, instinctively glancing over my shoulder. Initially, the city's bustling activity obscured any sign of threat, but then I noticed a shadowy figure lurking on the periphery, observing me. My heart pounded. Was this a mere coincidence? I had adversaries in my profession, and the thought of being stalked ignited a surge of adrenaline. Are you certain? I asked, my voice now softer, tinged with a serious tone. Trust me, she urged, stepping closer, her gaze unwavering. You need to escape. Hesitantly, I turned back to the shadowy figure, who had subtly shifted, as if aware of my scrutiny. The girl's words pressed against my conscience, urging swift action. All right, I decided, what do you suggest? She pointed down a narrow alleyway to my left. It's quieter there. You can lose him. Lead the way, I replied, surprised by the trust one was placing in this child. As we entered the alley, a sense of the unknown clung to me. The alleyway was narrow and dim, its walls seeming to close in around us. The city's distant cacophony, horns, chatter, footsteps was muted, almost serene within these confines. What's your name? I asked, seeking to alleviate the tension. Lily, and I want to be someone important. Her words resonated within me, igniting a spark I hadn't felt in years. Empathy. You will be important, Lily. I can see it, I stated, surprised by my own sincerity. What do you want to learn? She paused, a hint of a smile gracing her face. Maths? I love numbers. They make sense. Maths, I chuckled softly. I suppose that's useful. I declared, feeling a revitalized sense of direction. Lily radiated a joyful smile, and a profound sense of contentment washed over me, knowing we were all venturing forth. I observed the gears turning in my partner's minds, the initial confusion giving way to thoughtful consideration. Who in blazes is this child? Jason scoffed, but a tremor of uncertainty underlay his voice, a hint of questioning his own authority in the face of her unexpected insight. Lily, her posture slightly more erect, countered, and I know whereof I speak. You're consumed by anger, but it won't serve you. Consider what you truly desire. Consider. Jason exclaimed, his bravado faltering, replaced by a hesitation. The atmosphere shifted, and a surge of gratitude washed over me for Lily. Her clarity, unexpected from someone so young, was working its effect. As I surveyed the room, I saw the initial skepticism in my partner's eyes giving way to a nascent respect. It was a minor victory, yet it felt momentous. Amidst the turmoil, this spirited young woman had somehow turned the tide. I took a deep breath, preparing to confront Jason about his past and the illicit dealings I had uncovered. But as I stood ready to reassert my authority, a current of uncertainty snaked through the room. The stakes were escalating, and I knew everything was poised to change. The room erupted into chaos as the associate burst through the door, his face contorted with rage. The tension in the air thickened as he pointed an accusing finger at me. You think you can simply waltz in here, Hawthorne? I know your secrets, he roared, his voice echoing off the polished walls. All eyes turned to me, filled with shock. My partners regarded me with a mixture of disbelief and disdain, their expressions conveying their concern over the situation. What have you dragged us into? Their looks seemed to cry out. Before I could respond, Lily's voice pierced the noise, sharp as a blade. Wait, she exclaimed, her small frame radiating unwavering determination. This isn't how business is conducted. Trust and loyalty are paramount. I was surprised by her unexpected wisdom. The room fell silent, and all eyes focused on her. Even the associate seemed momentarily disoriented by the audacity of this young woman challenging him. Who are you to lecture us? He sneered. But Lily stood her ground. I may be but a girl, she declared, her voice steady despite the chaos, but I know that betrayal inevitably leads to ruin. You're not just harming Mr. Hawthorne, you're harming everyone who trusts him. A surge of pride swelled within me. Here was this spirited individual, a resilient survivor, speaking truth to power. I felt compelled to protect her, to validate her. Lily is right, I found myself saying, my voice stronger than I anticipated. Trust is the cornerstone of any business, you have lost sight of that. The associate's expression shifted from anger to confusion. You think you can protect her? That she matters in this world of greed. More than you'll ever comprehend, I replied, feeling a surge of conviction. And I know precisely what you've been up to. I have proof of your illicit activities. Whispers rippled through the room as my partners exchanged glances, their skepticism morphing into intrigue. The associate's bravado faltered, and I could see panic flickering in his eyes. You wouldn't dare, he sputtered, but I sensed the tide had turned. Call the police, I commanded, my voice firm. Let's bring this charade to an end. Lily's presence bolstered my... We were two souls navigating a challenging world, and though our paths had intersected unexpectedly, I knew this was just the start of an extraordinary journey. The adrenaline of the confrontation still thrummed through my veins as I turned to Lily, her presence a beacon of courage amidst the turmoil. Police were already en route, and the disgruntled associate, now restrained and visibly shaken, was being escorted away. The entire event felt surreal. Thank you, Lily, I said, my voice low but sincere. You were extraordinary. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't intervened. Her large eyes shone with a mixture of pride and humility. I just wanted to help, she replied, her voice steady. I've seen too much hardship on the streets. I know how to assess people. A warmth spread through my chest. You possess a remarkable gift. We need to find a way to leverage your talent. A promise solidified within me then and there. I would help her find a better life, a place where she could learn and grow. How would you like a proper education, Lily? A chance to learn everything you've ever desired. Her face lit up, a radiant smile piercing through her weariness. You really mean it? I've always wanted to go to school. But can someone like me truly attend? Of course, I affirmed, my resolve unwavering. I have connections, and I will do everything in my power to make it happen. You deserve a chance, just like anyone else. As we stood there, the palpable tension from earlier had transformed into a hopeful atmosphere. But before I could fully appreciate this shift, Lily's expression softened. Mr. Hawthorne, she began hesitantly, I have something else to tell you. What is it? I inquired, intrigued. I'm very good at maths, she confessed, her voice barely a whisper. When I was in the shelter, I helped other children with their homework. It's like a puzzle, and I love solving them. Mathematics. I echoed, a spark of inspiration igniting within me. You know, we could really use someone with your talent. I'm developing a new project that involves financial analysis and forecasting. I could teach you the ropes, and you could assist me. Her eyes widened in disbelief. You want me to work with you? Absolutely, I confirmed. It could be a fantastic opportunity for you to learn and earn some extra income. What do you say? Lily's face beamed again, and a surge of joy washed over me. Just then, a familiar figure emerged from the crowd, the shadowy associate who had caused such havoc moments before. But as he approached, a different glint appeared in his eye, one of recognition. Edward, he said, his voice low. I wasn't expecting to see you here. Nor was I expecting to see you, Richard, I responded, my tone cautious. What were you thinking, returning like that? I was desperate, he confessed, a hint of regret in his voice. I didn't know how else to get your attention. Desperate enough to risk everything. I countered, my frustration rising. You could have seriously harmed someone. Richard sighed, appearing defeated. I understand that now. I've been estranged from the family for years, and I thought perhaps, just perhaps, I could win you back with a significant deal. It all spiraled out of control. I realized his story was more complex than I had initially perceived. Perhaps we can work on rebuilding that connection, I suggested, surprising even myself. It's not too late to make amends. His expression softened, and for the first time, I saw a flicker of hope in his eyes. Let's start small, I proposed. You can assist me and Lily with this project, and we'll see where it goes from there. As the day's chaos subsided, I looked at Lily, her eyes shining with excitement at the prospect of a brighter future. This tumultuous day had unexpectedly brought about a reunion and a chance at redemption. In that moment, I realized our destinies were intertwined in ways I could never have imagined. Together, we had faced danger, uncovered hidden potential, and opened doors to new possibilities. Let's get to work, I urged.